This is U.S. Storm Center. We are tracking one of the most significant and wide-ranging severe weather outbreaks of the year so far, and the threat is far from over. On the night of Tuesday, March 10th, at least 16 tornadoes tore across Indiana and Illinois in a matter of hours. To put that in perspective, the entire state of Indiana records an average of around 22 tornadoes over a full calendar year. More than two-thirds of that total happened in a single night. Survey teams from the National Weather Service are still working to confirm the full scope of the damage. One supercell was responsible for at least 4 tornadoes across Livingston and Kankakee counties in Illinois, and Newton, Jasper, and Stark counties in northwestern Indiana. That same supercell tracked east for over 2 hours, covering roughly 200 miles from central Illinois through northern Indiana, eventually prompting a tornado emergency for Knox, Indiana, the highest level of tornado warning the National Weather Service issues. An elderly couple from Lake Village, Indiana, were killed in the storms Tuesday night. Emergency crews described scenes of total devastation when they arrived overnight. More than 60,000 customers lost power across the region, and at least 70 high-voltage power poles were brought down in Newton County alone. The storms also produced record-breaking hail. A hailstone measuring 6 inches in diameter was recorded in Kankakee, Illinois. If confirmed, it would shatter the previous Illinois state record of 4.75 inches, set in Manuka back in June 2015. According to the National Weather Service, 6 inches is roughly the size of a cantaloupe. Stones between 3 and 5 inches in diameter were also reported widely across the outbreak zone. The storms that night formed what AccuWeather meteorologist Courtney Travis called the most widespread and impactful severe weather outbreak so far this year, with the overlap of strong winds, abundant Gulf moisture, and sharp temperature contrasts creating ideal conditions for tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail. As of Thursday morning, the threat has not ended. The storm system has shifted east. Tornado watches remain in effect across East Texas, Louisiana, northern Kentucky, southeast Indiana, Ohio, West Virginia, western Maryland, and Pennsylvania, with around 62 million people still in the risk zone. The main threats across the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic are damaging wind gusts, large hail, and isolated tornadoes. A few tornadoes are possible across the lower Mississippi Valley and parts of Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. Cities already in active conditions include Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Nashville, Memphis, Houston, and Louisville. Storms are ongoing from Texas to the Great Lakes. In the Northeast, strong thunderstorms are expected to push through New York City and Philadelphia as the storm line advances eastward through the evening hours. In the South, the concern shifts to flooding. East Texas, southern Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi have already received heavy rainfall on saturated ground. 2 to 3 additional inches are forecast for some of those areas, raising the risk of serious flash flooding through The flooding threat extends northward through the Ohio Valley and into parts of upstate New York. Meanwhile, an extraordinary contrast is developing on the opposite side of the weather map. Temperatures across the southeast are running 20 to 25 degrees above normal for mid-March. Charlotte and Raleigh are approaching 88 degrees, Atlanta is sitting near 86, and Jacksonville is in the mid-80s. That sharp temperature difference between the warm southeast and the colder air to the northwest is one of the main ingredients fueling the ongoing outbreak. Behind this system, a fast-moving clipper will arrive from Canada Thursday into Friday. It will bring wind-driven snow and deteriorating road conditions across the upper Midwest, with lake effect enhancement around the Great Lakes. Chicago, Milwaukee, and Detroit are already seeing rain-snow mixes and strong winds. By Thursday evening, precipitation will transition fully to snow across those areas, and road conditions could worsen quickly overnight. But the bigger and more dangerous system is still a few days out. A major storm is forecast to deepen over Iowa on Sunday and push into Monday. This is the system that carries the most serious winter weather threat of the week. Combined snowfall from the two storms could reach extreme levels across the northern tier. Michigan's Upper Peninsula could receive 3 to 4 feet of snow. Northern Wisconsin and Minnesota are looking at 18 to 30 inches. The Twin Cities may accumulate 12 to 18 inches, and Chicago and Milwaukee could still see 6 to 10 inches from the combined impact of both systems. Heavy, wet March snow is particularly destructive. It is dense enough to collapse weaker structures, bring down power lines, and break large tree limbs under its weight. Following the snow, an Arctic air mass will surge southward with dangerous speed. Wind chills in parts of North Dakota and Minnesota could drop near -20 degrees Fahrenheit by Sunday morning. Chicago, Milwaukee, and the Twin Cities are looking at wind chills between -5 and -20 by Monday morning. At those levels, frostbite on exposed skin can develop in under 30 minutes. That Arctic air will not stay confined to the northern states. It is forecast to push deep into Texas and the Gulf Coast early next week, bringing temperatures well below normal across a large portion of the country just days after the South was basking in near-summer heat. What makes this week's pattern especially unusual is what is happening simultaneously on the West Coast. The same atmospheric setup driving the Arctic outbreak across the Midwest is producing a strong ridge of high pressure over the Southwest. That ridge is expected to push temperatures in Los Angeles close to 100 degrees Fahrenheit by the end of next week. One connected weather pattern is producing both record cold and near-record heat at the same time on opposite ends of the continent. AccuWeather meteorologist Alex Duffus has warned that flash flooding and damaging wind gusts can be just as destructive as tornadoes and often impact a much larger area. Even in seasons that run near the historical average for tornado counts, a single outbreak striking a densely populated or vulnerable community can make it a devastating season. AccuWeather. Looking further ahead, some relief is in sight. Temperatures are expected to moderate across the plains around March 21st as warmer air moves eastward. However, long-range signals suggest another cold outbreak could return toward the end of March and extend into April. The pattern driving this week's extremes may not be finished. This is U.S. Storm Center. Stay weather aware, have multiple ways to receive warnings, and know where you will shelter before the next storm arrives. We will continue tracking